privileged to have you watching this message. This is the Men of Valor teaching, and today we'll be looking at a very important topic in our series. And today we'll be looking at understanding your position as a man. The first thing that God established in the life of the man is to place him in a place where he can locate him. When God was about to create the man, he first created Eden, because location is important and position is important. So whenever God is about to look for a man, or to bless the man, or to communicate with the man, God looks for the position where he has placed the man. And so if the man cannot be found in that position, the man is disconnected from the purpose and the plan of God in his life. But today I want to focus on something very important, which is what happened in the book of Genesis chapter 3 verse 9, where the Bible says that God called unto Adam and said to Adam, "Where are you? Adam, where are you?" God came into Eden and Adam was nowhere to be found. The place that Adam was supposed to take, he was missing in his position. And God began to ask a very important question: "Adam, where are you?" The same question God is asking you today, you the man. You can put your name in place of Adam and say, "Where are you?" God is asking Peter, "Where are you?" God is asking Andrew, "Where are you?" God is asking Femi, "Where are you?" Because so many men are missing in their position. So many men have left their place where God has placed them. And so God can no longer locate them, and the angels of God can no longer locate them. And because of it, things have turned upside down in the life of such men. So today, I'll be drilling deeper into this. Every man has a position that God has created him to occupy. And that position is a position of responsibility. It's a position of responsibility. And one of the key responsibilities of that position is communication with God. The Bible said that God comes in the cool of the day to talk with Adam, to communicate with Adam in the Garden of Eden. The same way it is today. God comes into the life of the man, of every man, including yourself, to communicate with you. But when you are not in the place of communication with God, God would not find you to communicate with you. If God could not find Adam because Adam has left his place, the same way today so many men are out of place. So what is this communication? This communication is prayer. Is prayer. God is a God that have given men the responsibility of prayer. One of the first responsibility of the man is to communicate with God. And communication with God is prayer. It is the responsibility of the man to take a position of prayer in the family, in the society, in the country. Because prayer is the channel through which we take the matters of our life to God, the God who created us. Prayer is the channel through which we take the matters of the family to God. When there is challenges in the family, when there are issues in the family, when there are storms in the family, God is waiting for the man to come to him to present the challenges he's facing in the family to him. God expects the man to be in the place of prayer when he comes looking for him. But today, we see the opposite. That so many men have left their position of prayer. So many men are spending time to do other things that does not contribute to this area of prayer and communication with God. And so, we find men of this generation, of this age, who find pleasure in spending time doing a lot of other things other than pray. The Bible says that men ought to pray and not faint. Men ought to pray and not faint. I want to ask you this question. When last did you pray? When last did you go to God in prayer? When last did you stay in the place of prayer for God to come speak to you? What we have currently are men who will spend time watching football and games and gambling, men who will spend hours in the beer parlor, men who will spend hours doing all sorts of things and do not have a minute to go on their knees and seek the face of God concerning their lives. And the consequences of that is that problems that should have been solved immediately in place of prayer get multiplied and become much more difficult. And eventually, the result is that so many men have left the women to be praying for them. So many men have left their wives to be praying for them. And so when you go to prayer houses, you see thousands and thousands of women seeking God on behalf of themselves and their husband and their children. The question is, where are the men? The men are the ones that God created to communicate directly with. That is why when God came into Eden and could not find Adam and Eve, God began to ask, Adam, where are you? Because God knows that if anything happens to Adam, then Eve is in trouble. And God knows that if he can locate Adam, he can locate Eve. But when the man is nowhere to be found, in the place of communication with God, the problem becomes multiplied. And today, the situation we have in our hands is that the family institution is being eroded because men are not hearing from God. Men are not solving the problems in the family with the wisdom of God. Men are not praying. And so, when women take it upon themselves to begin to pray, it is good for the woman to pray. It is important for the woman to pray. But do you know that the prayer that a woman will take 1 month, 30 days to pray, a man can go to God in 3 hours, in 3 days. And God will answer him. Because the prayer of a woman, in as much as God is willing to answer, God needs the authority of the man. Because that is a hierarchy of authority between God and the family. It is when the man fails that God begins to take the prayer of the woman because the man has failed. Are you a failed man? A failed man is not the man who does not have or who has. It's the man who has lost his place of prayer to God. It's the man who has lost the place of communication to God. If you understand this very clearly, you understand that when God will come into your family in the cool of the day, you may not know the hour. God will be expecting to see you in the place that he can communicate with you. But the Bible tells us in verse 10 that Adam said there are 2 reasons why he hid himself from God. He said, 1, I was afraid. And 2, I was naked. First, he was afraid. Why is he afraid? Because of sin. Because of sin. Sin closes the mouth of men from praying. When a man begins to live in sin, sin will shut down his mouth. Sin will bring fear into his life. Sin will take him away from having the boldness to seek God. Sin will make him to run away from God's presence. So one of the reasons why so many men cannot pray is because they are living in terrible sin. Some have taken into the life of drinking and smoking and speaking in vulgar languages. Some have taken into the life of being adulterous, living their lives in the pub, living their lives in the beer parlor. Some have taken into the lifestyle of being enemies to God's kingdom. And some have taken into the life of being occultic. And so, there are so many things that when it comes into the life of a man, he cannot stay in the place of God. He becomes afraid to seek God. But that is why Jesus came. That whatsoever sin that the man have committed, whatever sin you've committed in your life, and that has taken you away from the place of fellowship and worship to God, and that has taken you away from praying, that have taken you out of your position, Christ came and died for your sin. That if any man believes in him, the same shall be saved. You can go to God in prayer today and say, Lord Jesus, I'm sorry for my sin. I want to return to my position, return to my place of communication with God. And so the second reason is that he's naked. Nakedness represents shame. It represents shame. Maybe in your own life, you are so ashamed. Things have not worked the way you thought it could be. Things have not matured the way you thought they could mature. Maybe you think your mates have gone ahead of you. Maybe you think that people will laugh at you. When you go to God in prayer, that your mates will begin to laugh at you and say, oh, this man is now carrying Bible. This man is now a child of God. And your mates will begin to laugh at you in the office. And they begin to laugh at you in the street. And they think that you're naked. Shame is one of the reasons why men do not pray. Because men think that they are strong. They think that they can do everything on their own. There is so much pride in the heart of men. And so they think that prayer is weakness. My friend, prayer is not weakness. Prayer is not weakness. Prayer does not bring shame. In fact, prayer brings strength. It brings courage. It restores you to the place of strength. And today, I want to encourage you to come back to your position. God wants to hear from you. What are the issues you're facing in life? What are the challenges you're facing in life? None of those issues is too much for God to handle. But are you ready to return to God in prayer? What are the issues your wife is complaining about? What are the issues your children are complaining about? If you can go to God in prayer, I can guarantee you that in the place of prayer, God will speak to you. He will give you answers to those problems. He will give you solutions that nobody have thought of. He will show you the way. He will guide you. God is looking for you. He's asking you, where are you? Where are you? Can you come out today and come to Him? I want to pray for you that whatsoever has taken you out of God's presence and you can no longer communicate with God and everything looks dark, the Spirit of God will help you to overcome them. Be it the spirit of sin, the Spirit of God will take it away. Be it the spirit of shame, the spirit of pride, what people will say, what your friend will say, the Lord today will strengthen you. And you will become the man who, when God comes into the family, looking for Him, God will find him. When God comes into his life, looking for Him, He will find him. There is nothing too hard for God to do. There is nothing impossible for God to do, only if you can pray. As the man in the house, you ought to pray. You ought to pray. You see, Some men will take their family to church, take their wife and children to church and drop them at the church gate and drive home. If you are such a man, I want you to stop. Take your family to church and join them to church. Don't send them to church and stay at home, because God will look for you in the church, because God is a God of order. He has given you the man the authority to bring to him whatever issues are in the family. But the moment you fail to do that, God will be asking that question: where are you? Where are you? I want to pray for you that you have the courage and the strength to return to the position of prayer. And so, as you do that, may the Lord bless you and bless your home and bless your family. My name is Dr. Isaac Ogazi. I am your host on the Men of Valor program, and I want to encourage you to share this message. Share it until all men get to hear it, and you can subscribe to our newsletter on our website www.themenofvalor.com. You can also join our Men of Valor ambassadors and become a voice for men. Wherever your location is, any continent you are, you can become the voice for men. Join our Men of Valor ambassadors forum. You can register in our website, and may the Lord bless you and keep you. Thank you.